everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, March the 24th, race number 7 at Aqueduct. We're going 3/4 of a mile. These are New York bred 3-year-old fillies in the East View Stakes. It's 100 grander. Before we get to the entry card, remember that time form USPPs are now available in your DRF PPs. Try them for free right now. When you access your past performances, you'll see your classic, your formulator, and then there'll be a tab for Timeform US. Check out the pace projector, pace ratings, class ratings, speed ratings, and all the other good stuff available with your Timeform US PPs. Try them, DRF.com. Here's the field for the East View, Mike, and expectations are high for the number 4 Maple Leaf Mel, who was flawless through 2 brilliant starts at Saratoga last summer, then missed the remainder of the year with shin issues.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how she comes back. If nothing else, Jeremiah Engelhardt found a pretty good spot for her here, Dan, to make her 3-year-old debut off of a long layoff. There's not that much in the way of accomplishment from the rest of this field, save the outside horse, Le Bon Temps, who was pretty disappointing last time.
She has never been headed in her career, Maple Leaf Mel. As we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, we're expecting her to make the lead in a situation that could favor front runners. Plus, with a little bit of rain in the forecast, you don't worry too much about that with Maple Leaf Mel. She's already won on a wet track. If this scenario plays out and the best horse gets the best trip, she'll be tough to catch at a short price.
Yeah, her speed plays in this race. Based on her career debut anyway, Dan, she doesn't even really have to improve that much as a 3-year-old to beat this field. She's supposed to be tough, and it looks like she's training well on the way back.
Affiliates hoping for a little bit of pace up front is the number 1, Little Lindsay, whose only lifetime victory came on turf, but she's earned a couple of stakes placings on the dirt, and she faced a very promising New York bred in her most recent start, the Franklin Square. The winner of that race came back to beat Open Company at Laurel by 11 lengths with an 80-plus Buyer speed figure. So Little Lindsay's hoping for some pace, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if she's going to get it here or not, Dan. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of pace in this race, and more than I think, she's run obviously fine in her last 2 dirt starts to hit the board, but she was never, a real factor in either of those races. And the races, they just haven't come back that fast either. She could take advantage here if she gets some kind of a contested pace, but I still think she has to take another pretty significant step forward.
The number 2 is Queen's Masterpiece, another lightly raced filly with a lot of upside potential. She's been big prizes in both of her starts. She won her debut to the tune of a $40 mutual, and then in her first start at 3, caught a sloppy track, a race that didn't have a lot of pace. The problem is now she's facing better horses and maybe a race with not a lot of pace.
I mean, those things are true. We'll see if she winds up needing pace going forward. I don't want to sort of define her running style after just 2 starts so far. Dan, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that this is a tougher race than the one that she was just in, that allowance race. That horse that won that race, Downtown Mischief, she's really good. She's 3 for 3 now. She came back to win the Cicada last weekend. And this horse, just got a little bit of a conservative ride that day on a wet track off the layup. I know her debut didn't come back fast. I thought she ran really well in there, made a strong 4-wide move on the turn and ran away from that field. I think she's way better than she looks on paper.
The number 3 is Security Code, Lasix off, blinkers off for a filly that's already multiple stakes placed. Her last race, she faced a very promising filly, one that would come back to win the Cicada against Open Company with an 81 Buyer.
Yeah, so far, Dan, she just hasn't really improved that much throughout her career. We've already seen her 8 times. She ran okay in her debut, second best to Maple Leaf Mel, and then did win her next start, but the figures haven't really improved. She's had some excuses along the way, but I'm just starting to wonder how good she actually is, Dan. She's another one who needs a little pace, I think, to be at her best.
We'll take a look at the 4 Maple Leaf Mel. This is her second start over the summer at Saratoga, and she beat a couple of these. In the $200,000 Seeking the Ante Stakes, she showed good speed. She made the lead. You see this track is wet. She fends off Lady Mine on the outside and keeps on going.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would say the wet track necessarily helped her in this race, Dan. It just didn't matter. She's way too good for these horses. Held a little bit of a challenge there from Lady Mine and is just ridden out at the end of this race. Really looked really good winning here. Looked really good winning her debut. She's the speed of this race. It looks like she's training well on the way back. You just have to concern yourself with the layoff at a short price.
Lady Mine, the number 5, is back for more. She raced only once more after that Seeking the Ante, a race in which she had her chance. She really made a good, strong run at the favorite turning into the stretch, and she was just turned away. That was going 7/8 of a mile, and she didn't run well. Maybe that was a sign that she needed a break. She got one. These connections are very sharp.
That's true. We'll see how much she can improve here in her 3-year-old debut. She's had a little time now to develop. It's not like the race against Maple Leaf Mel 2 back then. It's not like that was a terrible performance. She was just no match for that horse, but she ran fine in there. And then obviously didn't run quite as well in her next start. But she could certainly, find the necessary improvement here. But she's going to have to do it off the layoff. And she's probably going to be chasing Maple Leaf Mel again.
The number 6, Pantera, wouldn't mind a wet track at all. Both of her lifetime victories have come on off-going, including a pretty solid score with a respectable Beyer 2 starts back, where she was 3 wide under a confident ride and got away from them late. Now, in her most recent start, she was kind of in a tough situation. She was on a hard chase going after the aforementioned Stonewall Star, and Stonewall Star is just better than she is. The problem is a similar trip could be coming here. She has speed, but not Maple Leaf Mel's speed, and she might have to put that one away and then dissuade the closers.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. It'll help her if she gets out of the gate a little better this time. She didn't break that sharply in her most recent start. Then she wound up chasing Stonewall Star, who's a nice horse in her own right. That wasn't a terrible performance either, Dan. I mean, she was still holding second down inside the 16th pole before she finally got tired. I don't know what kind of trip she can get here, and I don't know, how much more improvement she has in her either. Another filly in this race she has to run a much faster race to win here.
The second choice likely in the wagering will be the number 7, Theywon't Tell. She is already a multiple stakes winner, and while no match for Maple Leaf Mel in the Seeking the Ante, she's likely improved since that performance. Let's watch her one and only start here in 2023. It was the Maid of the Mist going a 1-turn mile. She got wired by a big-priced horse. She's on the far outside. She tried to get into it with a wide bid, and she runs second while never threatening the favorite, Cairo Sugar. Now she's got to cut all the way back to 6. She has one going short in the pass, but if you believe this pace is going to be slow, she could be outrun early and be left with too much to do.
Yeah, I don't know that she's that slow. I think she can keep up with the pace if she has to. And in this race in particular, she broke fine and they just elected to rate her on the outside. I guess you could say it kind of blew up in their face, but at the same time, you just saw in the replay there, at least in my opinion, she had dead aim on that long shot on the lead inside the final furlong, and she just couldn't make up any ground. I don't know. I thought it was pretty disappointing, that most recent start. She's cutting back here. That could help her. She's second time out for Linda Rice now. And obviously Linda Rice just sort of wins everything around here these days. I don't know. She's obviously dangerous, but she's run 7 times. She's a multiple stakes winner. She has one fast race on her card. We'll see if she can get back to it.
Before we get to our top selections for the East View, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time in here, Maple Leaf Mel, the horse to catch and beat off of the layoff. I might try to get her with Theywon't Tell, turning back in distance with the recency edge. And again, I don't mind the cutback too much for her, but if Maple Leaf Mel returns like Maple Leaf Mel looked at 2, she's going to be real tough.
I kind of looked at it that way, Dan. I understand wanting to maybe take a shot against her here at a short price off the Lang layoff. I just think it's a great spot for her. I don't want to take any shots really against her. And here, if I decided for some reason to play against her, I would do it with the 2, Queen's Masterpiece. I think she's the interesting long shot.
4723 for Mike, 7461 for me in the East View. Your Friday DRF race of the day. It's at the Big A. Good luck.